So as you can see, we've done the body lift and we've got an extra 2 inches of clearance on the guard there. It's starting to look quite trick. Now, that body lift ain't going to help with any of the off-road capabilities of the car, as in suspension. That's why today we're going to look at putting a quality set of springs and shocks. This is going to give us an extra bit of height, a little bit more clearance, but the main thing this is going to do is this is going to give us the ride in the bush. It's going to give the articulation, it's going to make it work, and we'll be able to hopefully keep most of the wheels on the ground, keep better traction, and have a much nicer ride.
Now, the thing that's interesting about these vehicles is this has what we call an independent front end. Independent front end is commonly abbreviated to IFS. Now, independent front suspension technically is actually not always a disadvantage, but it does have some fairly unique features, and I'd like to just explain the difference between what we have in like a Sierra, which is a live front end, and here an independent front end. Now, the very first thing is, what does this actually mean? What it means is each part of the suspension, each side, is independent from the other side. So this can be going up and the other one can be coming down, or vice versa, or they can be both be going down or coming up at the same time. So they're independently suspended. What that means is that what one wheel does, the other wheel doesn't have to do, because they're not connected together with a beam axle, so they can move separately, which is a great thing. The downside, or one of the downsides, is that we are limited by the design of this front suspension how much travel we can actually get out of it. Now, the limiting factor in most vehicles is the spring. So if we change the spring and we change the shocker, we can get more travel. Out of this, the limiting factor is these control arms. Now, this control arm has a drive shaft sitting up the middle here. If we make this droop too far or go further than what it used to go, these drive shafts actually get pulled out of the differential, which doesn't move. It's set up in the middle, and it will actually not work. So we're very, very controlled. Now, the people who've designed the suspension have given us a shocker, or what we call a mini strut, which is exactly the right length. They've given us a coil spring package, which is going to enable us to get the best possible use out of the suspension that we do have. But what we have got is very limited, and back to that, it is controlled by the design of the front end. Unless we chop all this and change this, which involves major engineering, the limiting factor back to that is this design of the suspension. Now, a couple of things. The diff sits in the middle. This diff is actually an aluminium diff, so part of the Pimp ride is you're going to have a bash plate to put over this to protect the diff. The second thing, of course, is with this front end, is it is actually very strong. They very rarely break, these control arms, when people hit them on rocks. They're very, very good. But as I say, with that independent front end, we are limited, because when we're going down a hill and we've got lots of weight, the actual two arms will come up like this, actually changing the ground clearance, meaning the bash plate's necessary. When we accelerate, the wheels drop down, the whole thing jacks up, and we actually gain more clearance, so the clearance is constantly variable. Good things and bad things, but it's all part of pimping the ride. Now, what we've got next is the wheels and tyres. Now, the original wheels and tyres that came off this car were 28-inch. These were a jeweller tyre, and they were fitted on a little steel rim. What we're going to is a Federal Courageous mud tyre, which is a 31-inch 10R15, which is a significantly bigger tyre. This tyre is wider, it's taller, and it's going to give us more clearance under the differentials. Now, the wonderful thing about these Federal Courageous tyres is that they're relatively soft. On a Suzuki, they're actually able to bag, so when we let the air out of them, they're going to give us a really, really, really good footprint. The other wonderful thing about these tyres is they clean beautifully, they let the mud come out of them, and on a lighter car, they work absolutely superbly. I actually run these on all of my Suzukis with great success. The second part of the equation are these fantastic rims. Now, these rims are a steel rim. They're a special rim, they're extra heavy duty, nice cutouts, they balance up really, really well, and these are a 15x7. Now, you can go for a 15x8 if you wish to, but 15x7 is going to work really, really well and give us a nice shape on the tyre. Now, to fit these tyres on a car, there's a few little things that we have to do. We're going to have to slightly modify the mud guards, put a set of flares on there so we can keep the things legal within the guards. When this is all finished, it's not just going to look great, it's going to work absolutely brilliantly, and Jung's not going to know what's happening. He's going to be so wrapped with this. So guys, let's see if we can get these on the car and get it all happening.
Hi, my name's Scott. I'm from Dynamic Wheels. We're here today in our warehouse to fit up a set of our heavy-duty steel wheels as part of Yong's Pimp My Ride. Today we're going to fit up a set of our heavy-duty 15.7s for a Suzuki to a set of mud tyres. The whole reason you'd set up the steel wheel is they're a stronger unit, so for the heavy off-road they're very strong, durable and less likely for damage. Extra thick centre and extra thick outer, which gives the durability for the extreme off-road use. Our size of choice today is a 15x7. The Suzuki is a light vehicle. If you were to fit them to something like a Patrol or Land Cruiser, you'd go with a heavier, stronger 16 or 17 inch, which in turn you'd put a light truck tyre on. The Suzuki has had extensive bar work by Piranha. By fitting the steel wheels, it's like fitting a bull bar to a car. Steel wheels, when you're running extreme low pressures, you're less likely to get damage, crack a wheel, as you would with an alloy, so the strong steel wheel is the wheel of choice. The offset we've chosen today for the Suzuki is a negative offset. This is going to bring the wheel further out from the chassis, which means the vehicle has had flares fitted, so the tyre and wheel stays within the legal requirements inside the guard. Benefits of a negative offset: stability and a wider track, which equals better handling over a standard offset or a zero offset. Thank you for being with us today. My name's Scott from Dynamic Wheels, and this has been part of 4 Wheel Drive's Pimp My Ride.